You're listening to the Intellectual Investor Podcast. To read this article online or to listen to more episodes, visit investor.fm. London and Scotland: Musicals, Markets, and Memories. Part 3. In this part of the letter I wrote to IMA clients, I'll take you with me to London and Scotland. The initial reason why I wrote this 14-page essay. You can read the full letter in a link in the show notes. Beyond the business insights, this trip reminded me why I love this work. I get to learn and to see the world. I adore London and have been there many times, but this time was particularly memorable, exploring it with Jonah. In 4 days, we saw 3 musicals, visited the National Gallery, which is among my top 5 favorite museums, spent time with friends, had a terrific reader get-together, and walked 10 miles a day. I saw Les Miserables for the first time in London in 1997, when I was 24. Seeing it 28 years later in the same theater with Jonah, who is the same age I was then, was surreal. I've written about this musical before, as it truly had an incredible impact on me, and I've seen it half a dozen times since. It's my favorite because, unlike most musicals and quite frankly most operas, it has a powerful, complex yet aspirational storyline accompanying its incredible music. I had high expectations. But this revival had truly remarkable singers and staging that made you feel like you were in Revolutionary-era Paris. We also saw The Book of Mormon. We laughed and had a good time, but it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience, meaning something I'd want to see only once. Then we saw MJ, the Michael Jackson show. Though the storyline was hardly groundbreaking, the show was like going to 3 back-to-back Michael Jackson concerts, one when he was a young boy, another when he was a teen, and the third when he was an adult. 3 actors played Michael Jackson, and the singing and dancing were spectacular. I'd see it again in a heartbeat. To me, London is to New York City what British English is to American English. British English is polished and proper. American English is the Wild West. The cities are similar, yet different. And I find beauty in both of them. Both have wonderful parks and plenty of cultural opportunities in the form of classical music, museums, and of course musicals. London is older, friendlier for walking, and maybe a touch slower. From London, we took the Caledonian Sleeper to Edinburgh. We boarded at 10:30 p.m. and arrived at 6 a.m., though you didn't have to disembark until 8. I really liked it. Jonah, at 6 feet 3, less so. I've taken sleeper trains before in continental Europe, where the sleeping cars were bigger. Though they use the same gauge, the tunnels are smaller in the UK, so the cars are smaller too. Don't worry, the episode hasn't ended yet. I write 2 hours a day because I can't do without it. Writing is how I make sense of the world. If something here touched you or shifted your perspective, share it with whoever needs to read it next. They can subscribe at investor.fm. Sleeper trains make a lot of sense. They save you time and money. Today, even a short flight consumes at least half a day. Sleeper trains cost on par with a plane ticket, but you don't have to pay for the hotel, and you travel while sleeping comfortably, if you are of average height. Edinburgh is probably the largest medieval city I've been to, and one of the most beautiful in Europe. Built from dark brown stone, it feels very Harry Potter-ish at times. In fact, the main thoroughfare was J.K. Rowling's inspiration for Diagon Alley. We went on a tour of the Highlands and Loch Ness, which Scotland is trying to turn into a tourist attraction. The loch, or lake, is large and quite deep, with murky, cold water. In 1933, there was a supposed monster sighting, and it's been a draw ever since. England has the royal family. Scotland has Nessie the monster. It rained half the time we were in Scotland, and I loved it. Jonah is a good golfer and had dreamed about playing in Scotland, as it's the birthplace of golf. He played one of the most beautiful golf courses I've ever seen, North Berwick, among the oldest in the world. I don't golf, but was honored to be Jonah's caddy, pushing his golf bag around the course. It was a very memorable experience, and the first time I ever walked 18 holes. I'm never going to take up golf myself. I'd have to give up something else I love, plus I don't know many happy golfers. But I loved caddying for my son. Apparently, it's customary to tip your caddy, but Jonah must have missed that memo. We spent a full 4 days in Scotland. One was taken by Babcock, and we both felt we could have spent another week, at least, to see Edinburgh and the rest of the country. I love visiting London for another special reason. I have 3 very good friends who live there: Simon, Ben, and Steve. Simon and Steve I met at an investor conference. Ben at a reader get-together in London a decade ago. Our relationship started out as investor friendships and spilled into something more special than that. A lot of my friendships formed like this. Now they are people I talk to a few times a month and see a couple of times a year. I cannot tell you how much I cherish these friendships. They are a big reason why I wanted to go to London. Jonah has met all of them in the past, and we spent a few hours with each. One of my friends, Steve, and my ancestors came from the same area in Belarus. A few years ago, we did a DNA test comparison. We are 8th cousins, 0.32% overlap of DNA. Our great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandparents were related. I call him Cousin Steve, and Jonah lovingly calls him Uncle Steve. But of course, stocks still leaked into our conversations. These fellows are terrific investors, in addition to being awesome human beings. We share a similar approach to investing, and though our portfolios are somewhat different, we occasionally overlap on a few ideas. Ben was pitching Greggs. For U.S. readers, think of it as Dunkin' Donuts. Greggs is actually the #1 rated domestic UK brand. It specializes in sausage rolls and pastries, very affordable. I was intrigued by the company. It has good unit economics and is trying to break into lunch and dinners. So Jonah and I started visiting it frequently on this trip. I posted a picture of Jonah and me in Hyde Park. An American investor friend, Drew, texted me that he was in London for a few days. We ended up having a wonderful 3-hour lunch. These trips are multidimensional. They're not just about sightseeing, learning new cultures, visiting companies, or spending time with your favorite son. My 2 other kids are daughters. They're about all of the above, which also includes meeting new and old friends. I pour a lot of time and heart into this newsletter, not because I have to, but because I can't help it. Writing helps me make sense of the world, and sharing it is my way of giving back. I don't charge anything and have no sponsors. It's free by design. If you've benefited from this newsletter in any way, please share it with someone you care about. Thank you for being part of this journey. If you know someone who'd enjoy this episode, share it with them. To listen to more episodes, visit investor.fm. Enjoy life and prosper.